one of my favorite things to do is to visit other Rotary clubs to see how we all get to the same end, but we get there in all different ways. And Zoom has afforded us this opportunity to go to any number of Rotary clubs outside of our own district. So that's really kind of fun. So I'm very happy to be with you in Georgia today from Wisconsin. And somebody just sent me a note that they're a Packer fan. I need to tell you, I do live in Wisconsin, but I was born and raised in St. Paul, Minnesota, so I'm still a Viking fan. And that's really a hard thing to do some seasons. David said that I could talk about anything I wanted to talk about today. And I thought I should probably keep it focused on Rotary, since that's what we're all here for. But I asked him if I could talk about our strategic plan, and he thought that that might be kind of something that you would all be interested in. So today, I would like to talk about our vision statement and our strategic priorities and objectives within our strategic plan. Our vision statement, and truly the basis for our service, is together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. The impact of this brief sentence makes me very, very proud to be a Rotarian. Supporting our vision statement are our strategic priorities and objectives with their accompanying goals. During this time of COVID-19 and its economic impact on all of us, it is critical that we as Rotarians keep our priorities in mind. They are to increase our impact. The number one goal within increasing our impact is the eradication of polio, and then leveraging our legacy when we do eradicate polio. As I hope all of you are aware, our implementing partners have been pulled from the field. We are no longer immunizing children en masse. But I heard from one of the trustees yesterday, and it was on David's call with the 2 zones, is that newborn babies and those children being seen in hospitals and healthcare facilities are still being immunized against polio. I think that's fabulous news, and I think it's really worth applauding. So I know that our partners in UNICEF, the World Health Organization, will be back immunizing the masses of children just as soon as we have COVID under control. But most understandably, COVID needs to be our priority right now. Our second goal in increasing our impact is to focus our programs and offerings. And our third goal is to improve our ability to achieve and measure success. I believe COVID-19 is helping all of us understand that we can meet these objectives during this tremendous time of need. Our second priority is to expand our reach. That includes growing and diversifying our membership and our participation. And quite frankly, what a great time for all of us to be attracting new members. This goal allows us to create new channels into Rotary. I think we're experiencing new partnerships through our service during COVID-19. We have the opportunity to increase Rotary's openness and appeal. And again, I think it's a great time to be looking for new members when we are truly so engaged in our communities. And then the fourth goal within this priority is to build awareness of our impact and our brand. And I'm negligent today. I don't have a Rotary pin on, but I think it's really a neat time for us to be very Rotary proud in all of the service that we are providing. Our next priority is to increase our ability to adapt. While this priority is more about innovation and taking risks and the evaluation and review of our governance structure, COVID-19 has shown us that we do have the ability to adapt. If not, most of us would still not be aware of the Zoom platform. And our last priority is to enhance participant engagement. Through Rotary's research, we have found that during this time, our highest priority must be the engagement of our members and our program participants. If our members don't feel valued, they will leave. And given our physical distancing from one another, it may be weeks or months before we are missed. We as Rotarians have recruited nearly 1.4 million new members in the last 10 years, yet only 47% of our members have been in Rotary for 10 or more years. This tells us in a normal economic environment, we struggle to engage our new members. Consider our club's risks associated with our current environment. Excuse me. We must be taking care of our current members today. Oh, so sorry. In a recent survey, hang on one more. In a recent survey, 60% of the respondents ranked enhanced participant engagement as very important and above all other of our priorities. Further, with regard to future or potential Rotarians, trends show that local service, global service, and professional growth and learning are their priorities, all issues that speak to engagement. At this point, and I hope it's okay, I would like to engage all of you. I have a few questions and I would love anybody and everyone to participate as you'd like. What is the Rotary Club of Hall County doing to enhance your participant engagement? Nothing.
Anybody feel free to unmute and answer. Just jump in.
Well, I think this is Lona Pope, and I think one of the things that we've tried to do, especially during this time of COVID-19, is to set up a buddy system. Our incoming board has set up a buddy system where everyone has a buddy to reach out to and keep them engaged in just checking on them, checking on their family, making sure they're okay, and of course to continue to invite them to be a part of our meetings. So that's one way of engaging within our membership. The other way that we've engaged with our community is that we have made what we consider for our club a nice donation to our hospital for whatever needs they have for their staff, as well as another matching donation to our food bank in our community, again, for their needs at the moment. We have, with the hospital, we have asked all other service organizations in our community to at least match us. So we're hoping that can bring in some money to the needs of our, what we call our heroes on the front line. So we're trying to engage not only our members, but also be engaged in our community and what's happening in today's world.
I love it. Thank you for sharing, Lana.
I think there's been a lot of sharing and ideas, and things are obviously, with things being so different, sharing ideas and thinking how things are different. What are we doing? I think everybody has a different skill set, or it's a great time that we're all in many ways reinventing ourselves to some degree. We have a Rotary Means Business, and we talk about the dynamic of business and what are people doing to reach out or connect. Some people are, I'll give like Kim and David, for example. I know they're always well ahead on the technology curve, and, Kim in a hot foot, completely redesigns her website, engaging and things like that. So there's a myriad of ideas that come together. I'll say this one again, because I think it's one of my favorite. My kudos to Diane Camerata, who knows how to give a verbal hug and hugs in so many different ways. And so I think there's a tremendous pipeline of sharing and people doing things either on our Zoom calls or through Rotary means business. So plus our buddy calls. Those are pretty darn fun.
And Mary Beth, we've tried to get out of the box for our programs as well. We have a speaker from Wisconsin today. We've had a speaker from Pennsylvania. We've had a speaker from Alaska already. So we're trying to get out of the box with even in our programs every week.
It's great. It's great. All right. And I think you have maybe answered this one already through some of your local meeting some of your local needs, but anything that's in additional to what Lonnie had to say, as needs are shifting rapidly, how quickly are you assessing local needs and acting now?
Somebody tell her about the Northeast Georgia Medical Center project we did, please.
Are you speaking of the money that we donated, David?
Yeah.
Well, yes, and I touched on it a little earlier, but what we have, we made the donation, and of course we put it on social media, which we hope will spread the word. And that's where we put our challenge out to all other service organizations. And Sonia can probably speak to this a little bit better, but what we found out is that, I don't know if y'all have seen, but on one commercial on TV, I think it's a Dove commercial, where they're wearing their masks and they're bruising their faces because they're having to wear those for 12 hours at a time. So one of the things that money will go toward is a little care basket to each of the heroes at the hospital, which will have creams and solutions to help them with their faces after they take those masks off, which, those are things we don't really think about. We think about feeding them, making sure they get the nourishment and the nutrition that they need, but Sonia and her team and the hospital foundation came up with this idea of the little care packages, and that just warmed my heart to know that it goes beyond the meals, that it goes on of, take this, when you take your mask off, help yourself. We're thinking of you, help yourself in your personal care to make you feel a little better, that somebody does care about you and somebody is thinking of you every day. When you put that mask on and when you take that mask off, we are here for you. So I just thought that money going toward that was just a real special thing. And of course, to the food bank, as we all know, the food bank is running low because there's not a lot of food left in the grocery stores for people to pass on. So they're having to reach out and get food from other sources. So that, by all means, needs to be taken care of because there's so many people that need for their families that food. So we were happy to do that as well.
Yeah, I can't say that any better than Lona just did. And one of the things that I love about this Rotary Club is that we are small, but we are nimble, and we don't have lots and lots of money, but what we have, this club gives, and they give it quickly. We don't save it for big parties for ourselves. We don't save it to spend on banners. We give it right back to the community. And when I raised the fact that our hospital had a need, they immediately, at the same meeting, they all said, yes, let's absolutely give it to our local community healthcare system. And it's now in the hands of our healthcare professionals, and they really appreciate it, and they know where it came from. They know that it came from their own local Rotary Club. And I love that we also immediately challenged all the other clubs because this gives them the opportunity to give back too. And we are really competitive. So I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for this club. I'm grateful to be part of this organization, both here and the one I work for too.
So I would share this too, Mary Beth. One of the things that slipped my memory banks is that if you looked at everybody that's on this particular screen and other members, we serve an enormous number of organizations from a volunteer standpoint, from a board position standpoint. And I'm looking on the screen and I'm like going, I know Ralph, and I'm looking at, you know, what Todd's doing and Kim is serving. There's a lot of services going to many organizations in our community. So of which I'm, you know, so proud of everyone and their commitments.
I love it. And I think Sonia said it best. Sometimes when you're small, you can be much more nimble than a larger club that is tied down with a lot more structure. It doesn't give you always the ability to make those changes. I need to tell you that I'm really jealous that you have a healthcare professional in your club, because you know the immediate needs every single moment. And I'm very jealous of that. And I think it's somebody that we need to put on our list to find for our club. Through our global grants, our outreach for recovery and rebuilding is second to none. Are you doing anything now to prepare for global grants, which will be implemented in the next 12 to 18 months, again, in support of the COVID-19 and economic recovery?
I don't think from a global standpoint, I would say not yet. And our club is on a pretty fast pace right now to make some pretty sweeping updates. And in fact, you know, a sweeping update would be is that we don't have co-presidents, we have quad presidents this year. So there's going to be a tremendous amount of things that are going to happen before we get to the global side. So we need to be super healthy to be able to help others, is kind of my personal thoughts.
That's wonderful. And I think from my perspective, all I would say is that the need globally is going to be like we've never seen it before. And I think that I think we're all going to have some really pretty good conversations and interactions with our global partners. So just keep it out there from a thought process. My last question has to actually do with our first strategic priority. And that is going back to our first strategic priority, which is to increase our impact. How are you highlighting your efforts, both internally and externally? Saying we're Rotary.
So we're doing a fair amount on our social media with Facebook and that type of thing. Trying to get the word out there with what our local club is doing every week. We are, most weeks we're recording. I'm recording the program now. With your permission, we push that up to YouTube and then we put it out on our social media. And working on some things in the community. Like Al said, we have 4 people coming forward to be quad presidents next year. So this club is kind of in a restaging position right now.
I'm curious about that quad presidents. How are you dividing up the responsibilities?
Have a lead president that's visible to the world, and then the way I understand it, they're all working together, and then one of them will preside each quarter, something like that.
Cool. Very cool. That's a new model. I mean, what the heck? Cool. Cool.
The reason, Beth, the reason for that was our incoming president for next year, for the 21-22 year, was very honest in that she was not ready to take over this year. And we had somebody in line, but they were relocated. So in order for us to ensure that our club is strong and healthy, we decided, and Diane Camerata is really our lead president, and she's on this call, but I don't think can converse with us, but she's the one that put the package together and called some of our past presidents and said, would you be willing to do a quarter? And so we separated and shared that with everybody. So I think and we're all planning the year together. So it's not like I plan my quarter and she plans her quarter and Sonia plans hers. And we're all planning together, and we just keep rolling into the next quarter, have a successful year, and make sure that we're strong and healthy for our next president who's coming in
Ralph just noted on the thread, in case you didn't see it, he said, we don't have quad presidents. We have a presidential squad. Amen, Ralph.
I love it. Well, again, I think it speaks to your flexibility in doing what's best for your club. And I think you've come up with a fabulous solution instead of putting a lot of pressure on someone who may leave because they perhaps felt over-engaged. You've come up with a great solution that meets the needs of your club. Kudos to all of you, and thank you all for stepping up. I will turn the tables now. Do you have any questions for David? Or me?
All right, Mary Beth, I do have a question. Michelle Prater is on this Zoom call, and she is new to Rotary and new to our club. And because we are trying to engage our newer members, we have 2 or 3 that are taking over leadership positions in the incoming year. She, although her main job is foundation, because she's the head and the president and CEO of our North Georgia Community Foundation, she is going to be leading the efforts of our club for the TRF. So where would you recommend that she go to get a good basic understanding of our Rotary Foundation, so that when she goes she's been into some training meetings prior to this, and that's why she's wanted to be on this call today, because she knew you were representing the foundation. Where would you recommend that she go to get that basic information so that she can hit the ground running on July 1st?
I think the first thing is to go to Rotary.org, and across the top of the website is a drop down for the Rotary Foundation, and there should be a document called the Basics of the Rotary Foundation, or Rotary Foundation Basics, Michelle. Excuse me. That's a good place to start. I would also be happy to have some discussions with you. We could both be online at the same time, and I could point to some good information. David's got my email, and I'm sure he'd be happy to forward that to you. I love the Rotary Foundation, and on its surface, it seems really simple. And as soon as you start digging into the weeds, it's like a spider web where it just kind of goes off like this. But the bottom line is, I think it's a one-of-a-kind foundation in terms of we give, and as donors, we get to direct where our money goes. And I am not sure of any other contributions that we can make to any other foundations where we have that kind of flexibility. The investment, the 3-year investment period is unique. I've never quite figured out why more foundations aren't doing that, but it has served us very, very well. But I would love to talk to you, Michelle, and walk you through some of the things that I think are really important.
That's great. Thank you. David, would you send me her email address?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Okay,
Mary Beth, thank you so
Mary
much.
Beth.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Virtual claps from everybody. We appreciate you being here so much, and we turn it back to you, Al.
Hi, Kim.
All right. Thanks, David. Thanks, Mary Beth. That was very informative, very helpful, great questions, and terrific seeing everyone. Next week or the week past that, we have a couple of very special guests. Some might call them sons. Ralph Taylor will be joining us. I'm not sure exactly from the National Institute of Health or what specific office location. It might be certainly very prestigious and interesting. But we'll look forward to that, Ralph. And with that, any announcements before
is that next week?
We're still trying to navigate if it's next Tuesday or the following Tuesday. So we're juggling a couple of things right now, okay. David. Okay. But we'll let you know ASAP for that. Any other announcements before we wrap up with the 4-way test?
This is Kim. I've got a question, Mary Beth. I was born in Red Wing, Minnesota, so we're pretty close to where you were born.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm just curious to know, in Wisconsin, is the ice off the lakes yet?
Oh my gosh, it's been off the lakes forever. We had a pretty mild winter. Thank you.
Did you? Okay. Because I remember many times being Mother's Day before we could go on the lake. Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And our golf course is opened on either Saturday or Sunday, so we have a lot of happy outdoorsy people this week.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being with us. It's nice getting to know you a little bit.
Thank you.
Terrific. All right, David, do you have our four-way test screen? All right. And of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And as Don Crane would say, is it fun? Have a great day, everyone. Hugs, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
All right. Can you hear me?
All right.